Hey everyone, Jeremy here. It's Friday night and we're going to create some art. It's going to be awesome. I had some technical issues on Tuesday. Hopefully, I've got those all squared away. If you can't hear me or something, just chime off in the chat room, or if you can't see me, let me know that for sure. Yeah, we're going to create some art tonight. I was debating whether or not to continue with doing my paintings that I've been doing recently. But I think I might. I think I might actually do a painting tomorrow. But tonight, I just want to kind of like a low key night. Not low key the character, but just a low key night. And so I'm just going to do a drawing. Like on Friday nights, I like to be like keep it chill and just and kind of hang out with you guys and chat. We've got a new person in here, Ada. So if you guys get a chance to say hi to them, that's cool. But yeah, just feel free to hang out with me in the chat while I draw. I'm going to be working on one of my pastel portraits. You can see a couple of them behind me. I'm just going to work on that. So I'm going to get started. And feel free to hang out with me and chat while I'm doing this. But you guys kind of, if you've been here for a while, if you're new to the channel, this is probably new. So I'm just going to go over it as if you're new, even if you have been here before. But I kind of have a process where I just kind of like, I use pastels on these portraits and I just kind of make a mess. And the great thing about pastels is you can kind of like smooth them out and blend them in later. So I kind of just make a mess and kind of try to figure out where things are from that. It's pretty it's pretty creative that you just make a mess and try to find a portrait from it. But I just like to scribble, and then I'm kind of as I'm going along trying to figure out where like a face might be in this portrait. But for the most part, I keep it kind of loose. It always looks like a mess at first. So, like, just to warn you guys, it is a messy process. But I like it. It seems to work. It's worked out in the past for creating some of my portraits. So if it ain't broke, just, continue with it. But I do like to continue doing some of the things I've done before just to, keep in the practice. Like, hey, Larry, how's it going, man? Um, Hopefully your Friday's going well. Hopefully you had a great week. I know mine was pretty good. I have no complaints. But yeah, the process is just kind of make a mess and try to find a face in it, almost like staring at the clouds. Um, and while I've been doing, some paintings lately, and I want to continue doing that, I don't want to lose, some of the progress I've made in some of my other kinds of styles and, the mediums that I use and so on. So I want to come back to some of the stuff that I do every now and then. So hopefully that's cool with you guys and you guys don't get bored of this stuff I do. But if you do get bored, that's okay. Like I said, I've got another painting coming tomorrow probably. Um, I've been doing those Halloween paintings and I've got two of them done and I think I have in my mind that I want to do kind of like a trilogy. So I got to finish that up tomorrow. But we'll see how that goes. I haven't fully formed an idea for the trilogy yet, so like the last panel of it is still kind of very much up in the air, but we'll see how it goes. I'm all into this Halloween thing. It's a lot of fun for me. It's one of my favorite holidays. But this is not a Halloween portrait, by the way. So like I'm talking about Halloween, but that's not what I'm working on here. I do like the idea of kind of like repurposing like a traditional picture into a Halloween thing just by like adding a lot of blood and gore and stuff. Speaking of blood and gore, there is a fly in this room that has been buzzing around my head all day and I can't find it. But if it happens to land on my picture, you guys are going to see me murder a fly. So don't be alarmed when it happens, but that fly has been bothering me all day. And I swear, if I catch it, it's gone. I usually don't like to kill bugs because they have a right to live and stuff, but this particular fly has been annoying me all day. Like I try to catch, like if the best thing for the fly to do would be to like go and land by the window or something, and then I'll try to let it out because I don't like killing flies. I don't like killing bugs. I don't like killing spiders or anything. But I'm not above it. If that fly continues, I'm gonna get. Oh, I think the dog might have just bit it. Finally, those dogs are paying off. So enough about my fly problems. How's your week going? Yeah, so like I should probably explain what I'm and so this is going to be a portrait of a young woman. Um, I like the lighting on this one. Hopefully I can capture it, but you know, if I don't, then we'll see how it goes. But I like the lights on this, so hopefully it turns out pretty well. I like to pick reference pictures that have really good lighting. I think that helps in the process, but we'll see how this goes. Oh, it looks great so far. It's just a mess. Give it some time. There's what I call a messy phase. So like I like doing these type of pictures. So I do pastels a lot, and I do charcoal a lot, and they definitely have a messy phase where it doesn't look like anything, and then probably like maybe an hour into it, it starts coming together, and you can start seeing a face in it. Um, like I said, it's like looking up at the clouds and trying to you know, see patterns in them. That's the way I like to look at it, and it allows you to be really creative. You know, like I mean, when you're drawing a picture, you have to uh, you have to draw what is there but not. And that makes no sense. Let me try again. You have to draw what will be there before it ever like actually happens, right? So like that takes some imagination, and that's really what this is. It's a practice in imagination. It's like getting your brain to kind of get in the right place. It's definitely a good way to end a week. Like you know, like if you've been in school or if you go to work or something like that, you know, you have a lot to like clear out for the weekend. You want to have a good weekend, so you want to kind of just clear all that stuff out of your brain. And this is a good way to do it, I think. Thanks, Larry. That's a nice compliment. I appreciate it. Yeah, I got a couple of new people in here. I've been like frequenting other people's live streams, and you know, just because I like checking out what other people do, and sticky art is a really good one. So I was hanging out in there last night, and sticky art is just the nicest person. Like they were kind enough to give my channel a shout out. So I got a couple of new people in here, which is cool. Um, I don't I don't do this so that I can grow subscribers, but if people show up, you know, that's kind of cool. Like if you happen to come across this stream at some point and you haven't subscribed, go ahead and take the time to subscribe because like, you know, I do this a couple of times a week, and it's always fun to have people in here to talk to. So like there's been some streams where there's like only one person in here, and that's fine because I'll talk to anybody. Um, so like I'll strike up a conversation, like whatever you guys want to talk about, I'll talk about with you. I don't mind. Like we've had some weird conversations in here. We've talked about UFOs and Bigfoots and all kinds of stuff. Um, we've talked about treasure hunts, like real life treasure hunts. That's always exciting, adventures and things like that. It's never dull for me. I like I'm not I'm not really like an extrovert. I'm kind of an introvert, but part of the reason why I do these streams is to kind of get myself out of being an introvert. But um, as far as like actually having a conversation with people, I like all types of different people and all the different things that they bring up, the topics that they bring up that I don't usually think about is kind of fun. So yeah, bring it on. More people. Sounds great. So I'm kind of trying to yeah, yeah, like and you know, Ada makes some cool art too. So like I'm not really I don't have the link in front of me, so I can't post it in the chat, but maybe like later on I will. But Ada creates some cool art too, so be sure to check that out. You can just do like a Google search on the username there, and you'll find the channel. Not a Google search, but a YouTube search. Well, it's all Google. Everything is Google. It's either Google or Disney. But yeah, so like right now I'm just trying to find some shapes. And the process is that you go looking for the big shapes first, right? So the big shapes would obviously be her head. So I'm trying to find that. And I'm not being too precise with this. Like, as long as it looks like a person at the end, I'm not drawing a particular person here. It's more like just a person in general. So I'm not too worried about getting everything perfect the first time around. But I am trying to get like a proportional head. As you can see, I've kind of marked out some areas where the eyes might be, sort of the mouth will go in here, the nose will go in here. And I think the proportions are pretty good. But as you can see, I don't start, hey, kid. Yeah, kid's in here often too. Um, so as you can see, I don't start with like, well, there's that Loomis drawing method. Wait, there's that fly again. I swear, if I catch that fly, you guys are going to see me murder that fly. I hope it doesn't come to that because I really do. I don't want to kill an insect. I feel bad for them. Like it didn't choose to be a fly. That's just its lot in life. Anyway, back to the process. So these are Rembrandt pastels. They're a nice soft pastel. I find that they're really good to blend with and like keep things soft. And they work pretty well on this paper. Usually, you're supposed to get like a particular kind of paper for working with pastels. Hey, Just Dave, how's it going, man? Um, oh, like from the stick guy. He's in a ballerina, or maybe this picture is going to be a ballerina. I don't know yet. So anyway, I use Rembrandt for the stick pastels, and then I also have these Derwent pastels that are from jolly old England, and they work really well together. So um, I'm kind of limited in my art supplies just because I'm a cheap person. I don't buy the really fancy stuff, but these Rembrandt and Derwent are really solid. So those are really nice if you ever want to get into pastels. I know it's not for everybody. It's kind of messy. Some people aren't into like how hands-on it is. You see me using my hands a lot. My hands get dirty during the process. So it's definitely not for everyone, but I like it. So now that I've got kind of something to work with, I'm going to try to get some form into this by adding some darker areas, and we'll see how that goes. It's definitely a push-pull process. So like you add and then you kind of evaluate and then you kind of move on. So like I want to, I guess, start with her chin because that's a nice anchor point. I was saying earlier, I don't use like a Loomis method where I draw everything out beforehand. I kind of draw something and then just kind of work off of it to find proportions and where everything is. So it's like definitely, I call it relational. So like if I get a definition of a chin in here, then in relation to that, where's her mouth? And in relation to that, where's her nose? And so on. So I kind of do that. Hey, Robert. Yeah, I mean, it can be a bit intimidating. I wouldn't let that like talk you out of it, Ada. Like uh you can ask any of the people who've been on this channel for a while. Sometimes I do things just because it's intimidating. Like I like the challenge. I want to be challenged. If you always do what you're comfortable with, which, sometimes I do when I just want to like relax and have a good time drawing. There's nothing wrong with just staying inside your comfort zone. I don't want to say that, but um, it's good to get outside of your comfort zone every now and then and kind of challenge yourself. I think that that is the way to go because that's the only way that you progress and kind of like learn and pick up new skills. Like, I don't want people to go back and look at my first video on this channel, but if you did, you would notice that like it's not all that great. I mean, it's okay, like I guess. I mean, first off, I was super nervous. I didn't know what I was doing. Um, but yeah, so like if I had just stuck with that, I wouldn't have ever progressed. But now I'm painting pictures, I'm doing pastels, I'm doing ink every now and then. It's great to kind of branch out and move past your comfort zone. I think that that's really important as an artist. You do kind of want to like um hats off to Larry. What did Larry do? Oh, you're just saying hi. I thought it was like his birthday or something like that. Um, Yeah, so like you do kind of want to develop a style that you can call your own. But you know, it's early days on that for me. Like maybe one day I'll like pick a particular style and just go with it. But until then, I want to like practice a bunch of different things and see how it goes. Well, yeah, so like I think it's I appreciate you saying that that's inspiring because that's kind of like one of my goals is like for better or worse, I think everybody should do art, right? Like people are always saying like, "Oh, I don't have any talent, I don't have any whatever." Like it doesn't matter. Like you just have to be creative and like um just create something every day. It doesn't matter if it turns out great. Not all my stuff does. It's more the act of doing it and just doing it, you get better. I think really honestly that's the secret to like being a great artist. I wouldn't call myself a great artist yet, but like I can see that I have improved and it's all just because of like practice. You just work on it until you feel like you're there. I don't know. Let's see. Sorry, my computer decided to run an update, and while I'm doing this, hopefully it won't glitch out again. I hate that. Uh, So this side, it's still rather like warm. I want to cool it out, but I want to get some of these forms in here first, and then I'll worry about it. I've seen some master painters, which sometimes some people call like pastel drawing painting, which I think is fair. It's just I don't feel like I'm painting, but I still want to think of myself as a painter. But anyway, like I've seen some masters actually work in like one tone and then kind of like worry about the colors after the fact. And I think that's a good process. So like I'm gonna kind of keep this kind of monotone and then I'll come back and worry about color as I go along. Light bright set. I remember those. Those were fun. Oh man, if I could find a light bright in like a thrift store or something like that, or like on eBay or whatever, I'll do a light bright picture. That'd be great. I wanted to over the summer do a street chalk um, picture, but I even got some street chalk for it, and I just never got around to it. The problem is all the street chalk that I've got are like these fluorescent colors, so I don't really know what to do with that, like what kind of picture would look appropriate, but it's still on my list. So as you can see, I'm just adding like little bits of pastel here and there, trying to figure out, where her cheekbones might be, or like not necessarily bones, but just like the cheek puffy areas, if that makes sense. Oh, if you are new to the channel, you'll learn really quickly. I get tongue-tied and I don't know what I'm saying most of the time, and that just goes with the territory. I'm not naturally a public speaker, so I do apologize for that. I think her ear is going to be right around here. I think I have it a little bit close to her cheek right now, but oh, and you'll also find I'm very, very, very not good at doing ears, but we'll work on it. Yeah, get some pastels. It's a lot of fun. So like you see the process, you just make a mess and kind of toy with it and refine it until you get to where you think it's a finished picture. And you can see that most of my pastel pictures all kind of went the same route. There's some variation, like sometimes I just make a big old mess and just like work with that. Like this is a little bit more refined, but it's kind of the same deal. Hey Bill, how's it going, man? Just creating another pastel portrait today, trying to stay in practice. My end goal is still, and I think it's going to be a couple of years in the making, but my end goal is still to get to the point where I can go out to like a street fair or something and actually do pastel portraits of people while they wait. I think I've got a long ways to go. I have to speed up the process before I can do that. I also wanted to take a break from the Halloween pictures. I love Halloween, but it can't all be Halloween pictures. So I think her neck kind of comes down. I don't want to get too crazy with like the details of her neck yet because I'm still kind of like on the fence about that. I think there's going to be some hair maybe through here. She's got a shoulder that'll probably be around here, and then kind of a one of those dresses that kind of like come off the shoulder a bit, and they'll probably come down through here. So let me just kind of scribble this in and just so I know where things should probably be, but we'll come back to it. The other thing about pastels is that I feel like you have to add a base coat to it, at least on this particular paper. This paper doesn't have the kind of tooth that they recommend. They recommend using like a sanded paper essentially. And sometimes I'll sand the paper with like a clear gesso that kind of gives it that kind of tooth. But most times I don't, just because like it's a little bit of work. And I find that on this particular paper, it doesn't really matter. All right, so I feel pretty good about that. I'm going to grab like a brown pencil, one of these over here, I think, and kind of work on. I feel comfortable with where everything is. So that's another part of the process. Oh, I probably should kind of put in where I think her mouth is going to be. Um, Another part of the process is you keep it really light until you kind of figure out or at least feel comfortable with where things might be. So notice how I'm going really light with this kind of like reddish pencil. It's because I'm not totally sold on the idea that her mouth is going to be here. If I keep it light, I can move it, right? Or I can kind of cover it up or just kind of work it a little bit. Um, but it's also nice to kind of keep it light just because like it gives you this nice base layer to work from, which is kind of what I was talking about having a base layer. So also I should explain that I could be doing this with like a stick pastel, but I'm limited in my colors. I've got some flesh tone colors and then I've got some neon colors like these here. That's all I've got. I've never gotten around to buying a full set of colors for my pastels. Thankfully, I was very lucky to come into some pastel pencils. So like whenever I want to actually go deep color, I refer to those. Or I just switched to using those, which was a blessing. So the person who helped me with that is in this room, and I really, really appreciate that. But yeah, so I kind of just want to get a get a mouth going here. So I can already see that maybe this mouth might be a little bit high. So I kind of want to maybe, you know, kind of maybe put a bit of a gap in her mouth, which sounds worse than it actually is. But like her lips are parted a little bit. There you go, to kind of make up that space. I'm not gonna give her gap teeth or anything like that. So just kind of put that in there. Oh, yeah, I didn't realize, Bill, that I appreciate that, man. Uh, yeah, you should start with pastels. Why do you? Where should you start with pastels? I mean, honestly, so that's the other thing. I should explain that I never went to art school. I'm a self-taught artist, so I'm kind of making this up as I go along. So while you may learn something on this channel, I wouldn't consider it like, a great educational resource. It's just I just draw pictures. I try to explain what I'm doing as I go along, but I kind of flounder a little bit. But if I were to say where I would start, I would just start by getting some paper that has some tooth to it. So this is a like a mixed media paper. It's got a little bit of thickness to it. It's got a little bit of roughness to it. You don't want like a sheet of copier paper that has no tooth. And by tooth, I mean like the texture to it. So like you probably can't hear that, but when I run my hand across it, it's got a little bit of texture. So it definitely needs some texture to hold the pastels. Um, I have made the mistake of trying to do pastel pictures on like construction paper just because I wanted like a nice color background. That does not work. The pastel basically just doesn't adhere to it. You definitely need something with a little bit of tooth. So between your pastels and the paper itself, that's the heavy lifting. Then from there, I would just start maybe drawing clouds because they do blend really well. And you can just make like all kinds of different patterns. You just scribble like I did, and then come try to blend them together and try to create some really cool clouds out of it. I think that's a great place to start. Now that I think about it, like I haven't ever actually thought about it, so I appreciate that question. Um, but because they do make clouds so well, that's where I would start. Because like, here, I'll actually show you. So if I took like this dark blue, right? And I just kind of wanted to get an idea of like how the background will look, right? So I want like this background back here. So I've got that, and then maybe I might want to kind of darken it up a little bit. Hopefully I'm not screwing up my picture already. But say I wanted that to be like a little bit darker. So I might come in with some black, right? So these things actually like blend so well, you can actually mix colors like this. Um, kind of get that going down. So I've got that going. And then say I want it to be kind of like highlighted through here or something with like a lighter blue or something like that. I might come in and just kind of put that right over these other colors. Now, that looks like a horrible mess, but if I come in here, and you don't have to use your hands, I don't mind getting messy, but some people do. But if I wanted to come in here, just kind of like blend those together, it takes a couple of layers to like get it looking really well, but you can just kind of like smooth it out and you got this kind of cloud look, right? So now that I've got this little like dark base layer in here, I can kind of come in with like some harder marks over it and just kind of like, you know, get this like soft cloud looking thing here. That's what I would start with. I would just start with making clouds. You don't have to do this kind of crazy stuff that I'm doing. Um, Might be a little bit advanced for like your first time out, but just taking advantage of the how nice it blends together. That's where I would start. If that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, I am sorry. Oh, yeah, cool. Hey, Tyler, how's it going, man? Haven't seen you in a bit. But yeah, so like one of the other things I like about them is you can do most of the stuff you can do with like colored pencils, but you see like how easy it is to blend. If I was trying to blend colored pencils, I'd be like, what's the term? Burnishing, like really pressing hard or something like that. Um, versus this, where it's just like softly just kind of going over it, and they just kind of like meld together. It's really cool. Like that's the reason why I like these soft pastels, to be honest, is how well they blend. Um, Colored pencils, you have like a lot more control over, but again, it's so hard to get like a nice solid, like you end up burning through your pencils just trying to get like a solid um like layer of color, which you could do if you can if you don't mind like having to replace your pencils every 5 days. I'm exaggerating, but not by much. So there's a bit of color down here. Um, I think it's like a secondary light source, but it's kind of yellow. You can't really see it very well on camera, but it is there. So I feel like that's a good start to her face. Let me come in here and kind of uh, add another layer. There's that frickin' fly again. I swear, I'm gonna get that thing. But as far as like the colors for like doing Yeah, just doodle with them. Like, watch some of my videos on like my charcoal videos actually for some good tips about just like making a mess and then trying to find a face in it and seeing where that takes you. Because to me, that's really the best way to describe it is like you're kind of finding a face in the clouds. And I keep referring to clouds because that's what it feels like to me. You just got, I mean, it's sand, like it's a powder, but it feels so much like I'm working with clouds here. All right, so I am going to try to figure out where her eyes might be a little bit more defined, just because like I find that like a creepy picture without no eyes is a little bit off-putting if I don't get those started. So just kind of want to figure out the basic eye shape here so that I know where those eyes are. And then the challenge is I want the eyes to match up, right? So I kind of want to pull this across. Again, I'm measuring based on what I already have. And this isn't the color I'm going to have for the eyes, but I just wanted to kind of get them started. And these portraits do look like a mess until the end, so it's going to look a little bit weird. So I think that those are about the same size, which is good. Maybe this one needs to come down a little bit more in the shape. And one of the things that I really should be doing is I should be kind of using a reddish through here because there's a lot of red around the eyes. She's got some sort of like eyeshadow that's kind of reddish, and then the actual outlines of your eyes, they kind of like are red as well. Major League Baseball. So I know that that's Major League Baseball just because like, you know, I live in the world, but no, I'm not a very big sports fanatic, Tyler. You know that. So like it I don't know what's going on in the world of Major League Baseball. I wish I did. It's just there's so much to learn when it comes to like sports and stuff, especially like sports betting and things like that. Um, that I have no clue. I have no clue what's going on in the world of Major League Baseball. I assume that's what like I thought baseball season when it was actually like earlier in the year. I didn't realize like it goes into fall. But I feel like I should have known that. I just didn't. I would love to be able to like actually talk sports with some degree of knowledge. It's just I got nothing for you, man. I got nothing. I'm a nerd. If you want to talk about the latest Marvel TV series, I'm your guy. Like I'm loving Loki. Loki is such a good show. But if you want to talk about what's happening in sports, I've got nothing for you. I wish I did. You could tell me about what's happening in Major League Baseball, though, and I'll listen. It's not that I'm disinterested. I just don't. It's just tough to like. I don't know. It just seems like there's so much to keep track of there. So the other thing that I can say about this is like you see me making like these really light marks. I think that's important. Like you don't want to be like, pressing down really hard and stuff like that. You don't need to. Let's see, I had some blues around here. I always forget where my pastels are too. Like you'll find that that happens a lot. So I kind of want this eye. She's got blue eyes. I think I'm going to bring this eye down a little bit, or at least I'm going to bring this part up just because I feel like this eye might be too wide or like too tall. I mean, it's always nice to draw people that have like really bright, big eyes and everything. I think that those are fun pictures to do, but you don't want them to be too big. So let me check my eye thing. I think this one needs to kind of come over a little bit. And again, keeping it really light right now. So this one, I feel like this needs to come up a little bit. So let me go back to my pencil. And I can just kind of move it around, you know. That's really the trick here. The trick is you keep everything so light and you keep it all so messy that you can make adjustments to it because you're not starting with like a sketch, right? So like if you feel like starting with a sketch or like a tracing of something or something like that, I don't you're not going to find me judging you. I think that's fine. But if you really want to be able to draw people in person, which is like my ultimate goal, I have to practice drawing something from scratch because there is no tracing in real life. Um, so that's why I do some of the things that I do, even though it's not something that like you want to really start off with. Um, but like if you're just getting started in drawing and stuff like that, I don't recommend like going crazy like I do. But I sometimes punish myself. I make myself do things that aren't easy just to see if I can, you know. Oh, the Cricket World Cup, that's cool. So let me get kind of the eyelash line going here. This is where the eyes start looking like eyes when you start putting in like eyelashes. They start looking a little bit more real. And then the other thing that I always find fascinating and really enjoy is when you start adding like depth to the eyes. Because the eyes aren't like these flat surfaces. There's a lot going on in them from like an anatomy. Whoa, that's hard to say. An anatomy standpoint, there's like a lot of three-dimensional objects that are in the eyeballs themselves. So again, kind of keeping it light until I'm happy with this these eye lines. You know, I don't want her to look like she has like, I don't know, one eye that's drooping more than the other or something like that. But get a bit of an eyeball going here, like the iris bit. And then there's a bit of shading on the top. Oh, hey, take it easy, Larry. I'll have this posted up at the end and stuff. You can just come back and watch it later. Yeah, I always tell people also, like, you know, if you can't watch the whole stream, I respect that. Like, these things sometimes go on for like an hour or two. Uh, Um, you're not hurting my feelings if you have to leave. I appreciate you guys showing up at all, to be honest. So a little bit of depth there. So like, I don't mind going darker once I feel comfortable with where the eye is going to be and the shape of it and so on. So I do want to make sure that the pupils on each eye are the same size and they're kind of facing the same general direction. You know, I say all the time, people come in all different shapes and sizes and stuff. Like you might be drawing a picture of a person who has a lazy eye or something like that. And if that's the case, you know, you want to draw them accurately. Um, no, Mama Q, I'm taking a break from the Halloween pictures. I am going to do a Halloween painting tomorrow. Um, kind of like as a standalone video, not a live stream. But I wanted to take a break from it, and because I haven't fully figured out what I want to do. I want to. So I done those two pictures. I have done. There you go. That's proper grammar. I have done those two pictures that are Halloween inspired, and I noticed that they have like they're kind of forming a story. So I want to do this trilogy where it completes the story, almost like a three-panel comic book. Um, but I haven't figured out exactly what the third installment was going to be. So that's actually what I was going to do tonight. But since I haven't fully figured out where that story's going yet, I decided to put it off until tomorrow. So I'm going to do that as a standalone video and put that up tomorrow. And tonight, I just wanted to kind of like relax and Um, Make sure I haven't forgotten how to do a portrait because I like doing portraits, if all of that makes sense. So that's kind of what we're doing. Just drawing pretty pictures, hopefully. I try not to predict how these things are going to go as well. You ever had G Fuel? Is that a drink? It must have glowing eyes. Okay, kid. I will make sure that it has glowing eyes. Got to be scary, or at least, in the realm of Halloween. Not everything in Halloween is scary. And I noticed that, well, the other two had like a little girl in it. So she's kind of like the heroine of the story. So I kind of want to incorporate her in the third installment too. And then just see how it goes. I'm enjoying doing those paintings, by the way. Um, I'll tell you what I enjoy about them is that I'm mixing the colors from scratch. So like if you go back and you watch those pictures, all of that is mixed from primary colors, which is definitely outside of my comfort zone. I'm not very good at mixing pictures, mixing paints. There we go. That's what I mean to say. Um, I'm not very good at mixing paints, so like when you see those, it may seem like I know what I'm doing, but I totally don't. And I think that I'm rather proud of myself, to be honest, that those worked out as well as they did. So yeah, I think I need to blend out some of this stuff. So I have um, so you'll see that I blend a lot with a zombie child. There you go. A zombie with glowing eyes. I have to put the glowing eyes in for kid. Oh, it's an energy supplement. Okay. So is that like Red Bull or something or like Monster Drink or something like that, Tyler? I do like like an energy drink every now and then. Mostly like coffee. I drink that a lot. But those things have like so much sugar. I try to avoid them for the most part. Like even when I drink my coffee, it's usually like like without sugar. I'm not gonna go on like a sermon about how sugar is bad for you. It's just something I try to avoid. Like I don't even know if there is a such thing as a diet energy drink, but that would be ideal. There's that freaking flag in. If you guys see it, let me know where it went. That fly's days are numbered. That's one of the downsides to having a couple of dogs that are on different outdoor schedules. So like they like to mess with me. Like one will go out and it'll be happy. I just blew my little bird away. Um, one of my dogs will go out and I'm like, oh, I'm done. And then the other dog wants to go out. They won't go out at the same time. They just like to torture me that way. We're doing on time. Oh, this isn't bad. So I don't want to put a lot of detail in at this point. I just kind of want to know where everything is. So like I know, for example, that I have some other things to do on this side. I think I'm going to go with brown over here as well. So I do kind of still want to form out the eye socket area. This all sounds weird when you're like drawing a picture of a person. It's like you have to describe like different body parts that like just sound weird. So like her eye socket, like you don't usually talk about a person's eye sockets in like normal life. And like if I was just drawing this and I'm just like not on a live stream talking to you guys or whatever, I would just be like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna draw this thing. I wouldn't have to describe exactly what it is. It's kind of awkward. It would be really weird if this person was actually sitting across from me and I was doing a demonstration and I have to like talk about her like she's not there. That would be weird. But I don't know. Professional artist problems, I guess. Get a bit of a line going down here, which will be with like the bottom lashes. Yeah, I think this is looking okay so far. Bring this down through here. I'm gonna kill that fly. Kind of round this off a bit to kind of form the top of her cheek. And then lightly kind of blend it. I don't want to press too hard when I do the blending, especially like with my blending stump. Oh, you had two seizures today because of, yeah, don't drink that, Tyler. Come on, man. Gotta take care of yourself, dude. Yeah, if you're gonna be getting seizures from drinking an energy drink, stop drinking that energy drink. Yeah, I mean, I have to practice what I preach as well. Like, I need to cut back on the coffee. Like, I drink way too much of it for somebody my age, at least. But yeah, certainly if you're having seizures, you don't want to be drinking that. All right, so that's a good start. I know, like, it kind of looks a little muddy at this point, but she's going to have like rosy cheeks and stuff like that, so she's not going to stay this color. Just still boxing things in, kind of figuring out where things are. I'm looking for like shadows, things of that nature. And maybe sketch in where her nose, nostrils, things like that might be. And then once I'm happy with all of that, like I think her nose coming down this far is appropriate. And then this part here is kind of a ridge above her lips. So let me kind of, so bring that down. She's got, you know, like, I don't even know what this is called, like a mouth dimple? I don't know. Whatever this thing's called. It always ends up looking like a mustache until it's done. Like I'm giving her a mustache basically right now. But again, I'm still just kind of carving things out and figuring out where things might be. Like I can already see that I'm probably going to have to change the shape of her mouth a little bit to make it work. So the end of her mouth kind of stops a little bit short of where her eye might be, or her eyeball, her iris. Yeah. Oh, if you come here for like anatomy lessons and stuff like that, this is not the place for that because I do not know what I'm drawing. I might get the terms wrong, things of that nature. They're all just like shapes to me, you know? Like I'm drawing the shape of something that I assume is the mouth, like whether or not the upper lip actually has a term for it, I have no idea. Philtrum. Hmm. You're working on a pastel drawing of a gut's face. Oh, cool. Hey, um, I should say, uh, if you do draw things, please share them with me. I'd love to see what other people are working on who watch this show. So like, I mean, I'll watch your channel, so if you post it there, I'll see it. But if you just want to like share something, like post a comment to it or something like that, tell me where it is, or my email address is on the about page. Feel free to send something to me. We have done a show where like I kind of show off stuff that's been sent to me by viewers of this show. That was a lot of fun. I need to do another one of those again. Um, but yeah, I love to see what other people are working on, especially people who watch this show and stuff like that, because I like it would be kind of cool if I do, inspire people to create things and like, like you do get something out of watching this. Like that would be really rewarding for me. So definitely feel free to send me any of that kind of stuff. But so a philtrum, is that the upper lip, or is that the thing in between her nose? Like basically this little mustache looking thing? It's just a shadow. So by the time the picture's finished, I like to smooth out any of these like sketch marks. I want the focal point of the picture to be kind of super smooth, but you kind of build up to that. Like it's not going to be that straight off. I guess. Yeah, cool. A gut space sounds very Halloweeny. I'm so looking forward to Halloween. It's going to be awesome. I am doing a live stream on Halloween night. It might be a little bit later than I usually do it because I also want to give out candy. But depending on like when that wraps up, like my neighborhood doesn't get a lot of trick-or-treaters anyway. So if I find that things are kind of like dying down, I might hop on at the usual time. But yeah, I'm all about Halloween. The weekend before Halloween is going to be cool. Like we have in this town something called a Thriller Parade, which is based on like Michael Jackson's Thriller. It's literally like hundreds of people dressing up as zombies, parading through the streets. So that's fun. So I'm definitely went a little bit too high there. So I'm definitely looking forward to going to that as well. So I think at this point, just to make it look the way, or at least make myself comfortable that I'm heading in the right direction, I am going to put in some of the, I guess, blush on her cheeks because they are kind of like really pink in this picture. I don't know if it's like just a lot of makeup or if that's just how her face looks, but she's got these really rosy cheeks, and I don't know how well that's going to translate to camera, but I will do my best to get it as red or as pink as I see it. And it kind of comes around and up into the corner of her nose. I think I'm actually going to work on this left side more than the right side for the time being, just to get it right, and then I will move over into. So I think I'm gonna do like a zombie. Like I think it's just like white makeup and black, like I don't know, maybe a skeleton or something like that. But I haven't fully decided. That's a great question. I haven't figured that out yet. What'd you get yourself into yesterday, Tyler? You always have the guess what's every single time. What'd you get yourself into this time? Hopefully nothing bad. I always worry about you, Tyler. So you can kind of see like the flesh tones and then like the browns and then coming back with the pink. It kind of all forms together to create like a realistic skin tone, which I think is cool. And that sort of thing you can probably learn um, just by practicing with different colors to see which ones work together. So basically, your skin tone is going to be some version of orange, kind of muted out. That's a basic human skin tone, in whatever shade. So like, whatever race you are or whatever lighting you are, it's probably going to start with like a muted orange, and then like shades from that. So one of these times I'll probably just sit down and just like sketch out all the different kinds of skin tones that are common, I guess. And that would be a fun experiment actually, just to see all the different types of skin tones I can make. She's got kind of like a rosy nose. And then the ridge of her nose is also kind of pink. There's a way to make skin tone for people. It deals with like yellow ochre and then coming over it with magenta. I would like to try that sometime. Like this is a yeah, so this is a magenta. So the reason why this works is because like it's already kind of got a little bit of yellow in the skin. So this is how you kind of fuse those together, blend them together to kind of make a realistic skin tone. Oh, cool. So your dogs are Zeus and Bandit? I love that. Oh, you got into another treasure hunt there? I've been looking into that whistle pig. If you guys are familiar with that treasure hunt, it's a lot of fun so far. I've heard about it over the years and stuff like that, but never really got into it. That's been occupying a lot of my time lately. All right, so there's a fly. Did you see it? Oh, you little bastard. I shouldn't say bastard. You little thing. I'm gonna kill that thing. Come back over here and land on my cup again, see what happens. Jerk. I think it just laughed at me. I'm gonna get it. Come on, lazy dogs, eat that fly. All right, so I'm applying a little bit of blue to her skin tone because it is kind of like reflecting behind her, which is always nice. So like if you can pull item or like colors from the environment into your um, main focus, the person, there you go, into your portrait, that always works well because like the human skin is kind of reflective. We have oils and stuff on our skin that kind of reflect our environment. So like if you're in a blue room, for example, like I'm in a blue room. My face is going to look a little bit cool. Like the lighting in here kind of sucks, but hopefully you get the general idea there. But yeah, it really helps to make your picture super realistic by incorporating some of that background color. And as you can see, the more layers I put on this, the more they start to kind of blend together, and it creates like this kind of realistic look to it, I think. So I don't want to get too far with that right now. That's kind of like finishing phases. I just wanted to kind of let myself know that I'm on the right track here by putting some of this in. Now, because this is like so highlighted over here, it kind of gets washed out. So this is where I would come into like this this kind of background here and kind of make that like a harder edge. And I kind of wanted to throw in some pink here as well. So, but kind of bring that up and kind of give her like a more defined cheek. I have to be careful with this not to screw up my picture. Like I already saw that I got a little bit of pink in there, but I'll just smooth that out and that'll be part of like the reflected light. But kind of bring that down, smooth it out. I like I like anything close to the face to be super smooth, and then it can kind of get rough as it kind of goes away from the face. That seems to be something that I do a lot. So we'll call that a style, I guess. But so now I've got a like a more defined cheek, which is good. And if I'm worried about it too much, I can come back, kind of come back over. The other thing about these pastels, these soft pastels, is that they're opaque and they layer really well. So I can go right over my other stuff, and if I'm pretty like liberal with putting it down, it's pretty opaque and it goes right over it and it kind of covers things up. It's not perfect. Like you can still get some of your under picture kind of showing through, but it's pretty good for like covering things up. So I kind of wanted to do that just to kind of get a defined, um, you know, cheek going here. So it is messy. You see me cleaning my hands quite regularly. So I got this like this nasty towel that I need to wash at some point, but I just wipe my hands like quite often actually. All right. So now that I've got that going, um, I want to turn my attention to the mouth, which I think could use a little bit of development here. I worked a little bit on the nose earlier, so now I feel like this is probably the next place that needs some attention. I kind of want a hard line that kind of comes up into, I don't know what the proper term is for this, but I call it a Cupid's bow. Oh, a killer clown, what is it? Was it Penny? The one from It? I think it's Penny, right? I need to go back and watch that movie. That'd be awesome. Like I love the clowns are just scary anyway. Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah. Definitely post a short of that. That'd be awesome to check out. Uh, Tyler, I have never seen you with a beard. That would be awesome. Tyler's got a great life, by the way. Like he's always telling me what he's up to, and he's always up to something. Like I live vicariously through Tyler. He's a pretty cool guy. All right, so just kind of get a mouth going there is what I'm shooting for here. And I'll add some details to it, kind of like define it a little bit as I go along, but I wanted to make sure that I kind of knew where it is. And then I think freaking flying. Brr. You guys are gonna see me go insane over this fly here. So I do have a reference picture over here, but like many times when I'm just chilling out drawing, it's just a generic model. Like I don't want to say it's like this is a real person in real life, so I don't want to say oh she's just a model. Um, but it's not anybody famous or anything like that. I don't want to put her down by just saying oh she's nobody. She's a real person, but she's not somebody that people would recognize or anything like that. It's just a photo reference. All right, so I am going to grab my little blending tool and kind of smooth some of that out. What are we doing on time? The other thing about drawing on a live stream is that I have to be conscious of the time so that it doesn't go too late. It's a little bit better on Fridays because like I feel like if I do go late on Fridays, it's not going to like, you know, like I don't mind staying up to finish a picture, but like I realize that after a while people start dipping out because they've got other things to do, which I appreciate. Um, grab this pencil here. I kind of want it. No, I want something a little bit warmer than that. Actually, this would be good. No, yeah, this is good for that cheek area because it is kind of cool through here. This is almost like a darker, what was it, a soft violet? So this is probably good for like the edges of this cheek. Because if you remember, I kind of started with browns and stuff, so I'm kind of bringing in some reds just to, give some life to that, I guess. But it's just a lot of hatching. So like Pennywise, that's it. Oh, what did I say? I said Penny, right? Thanks, Mama Q. Mama Q is like the keeper of all pop culture. She keeps me straight. She remembers these things that I don't remember. Pennywise. I actually drew Pennywise. I should post a picture of that. I worked in the IT department one year, and they wanted us to decorate the door. And I actually did. It's not an original idea. I actually saw this on Reddit, but they decorated it as the movie poster for It because It get it. Um, so like I did a copy of that, and it turned out really well. I'm gonna have to post that to the community tab. I did that in like colored pencils and like markers. It turned out really well. Darken this in. Sometimes I don't even know what color I'm going to use here until like I practice with a pencil and I'm like, oh, that's actually the color I'm looking for. So that's what happened with this pencil. I'm like, oh, that's the perfect color and stuff to do the shadow on her chin. So happy accident there. Yeah, because it's like this nice warm color, and I think it's actually appropriate for like down in her neck, going into her chest, upper chest area. So I'm just going to use this pencil all over the place because I just realized that it's a nice color. Yeah, if you're gonna dress as how like Pennywise, you need to actually get like an inflated balloon and carry that around, or like a balloon on a stick. That seems to work really well as well. So like you can get a red balloon that's not filled with helium and just kind of carry it around on a like a long like stick or something like that, like I don't know, like a black thin coat hanger kind of. Well, they don't make the metal coat hangers anymore, but that would be perfect. That's a great idea. All right, so just blend all of that out. All right, so that's pretty good. I need to make some progress on some of these shadows here, though. Let's see. I do like that pink. Get some pretty intense pink right through here. That's that magenta. Really kind of like hammer that blush home. I don't know if that's makeup or that just how her face looks, but it's pretty pink through there. Kind of want a light bit of pink through here. And just smooth that out. And then I should be a makeup artist. Like, all right, all you girls out there, if you want your makeup done right, that's a little side thing I'm doing. I will I will do your makeup for you. Because I think this actually, like really brightens up her cheeks. I think that girls are actually better artists than guys when it comes to portraits, especially of women, because like it really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. The makeup thing is not something I have any experience with, and It's just, like it is like applying makeup when you do these skin tones on the cheeks and like the lipstick and stuff like that. There's a reason why I usually do like a pink lips is just because I don't understand lipstick. Um, so yeah, that's just a limitation of mine that I need to figure out, I guess. But I like this. This is looking okay. All right, so I am going to, what was it, this color? There was a bit of warmth up here. And I think this is the perfect pencil for that. A bit of warmth, and then there's going to be some light white over it. I think that'll be a good shadow for above the eye. Hey, Rum Dog. Yeah, Pennywise is a scary character. I love that movie. I don't know why I was saying Penny earlier. I guess I didn't think about it. Smooth that out a little bit. All right, and then there was some white light up here, kind of moving into that, and then through here it was more of a yellowish. Again, a little bit more warmth up here than in some of the other areas, which are kind of like a little bit more. I love these soft pastels. They're really great for just like I don't know, just like adding layers of color. Especially this white. This white is so opaque. I use it a lot to just kind of come over and add these like little highlights where the light is catching, like along this nose. The real, so like these the lines of a nose don't really exist in nature. It's all light and shadow. It's not like a hard line. So when you come in and add these like little highlights over it, it instantly gives that nose a little bit more depth, if that makes sense. I think this nose is going to come across like that, so I need to work on that. Let me get some more going on that mouth there. Um, this pencil. Just like a little ridge going here. Pretty happy with this top lip. I need to work on this bottom lip some. There's like this line of shadow kind of comes through. Yeah, Pennywise is scary. I completely agree. I mean, there's a reason they use Pennywise. There's a reason why they made so many sequels and the original and everything like that. Clowns are scary. I don't care who you are. If you're not scared of clowns, you're not paying attention. They're evil. Like if anybody out there is actually a clown for a living, I'm not going to apologize. You need to find different work. Like you should be aware that you are scaring the crap out of people. I'm sure you're already aware of that, actually. All right, I think that that's a good base. So there is, grab this white pencil over here. I'm gonna get some highlighted areas up here. But really, down here is going to be catching the most light. It'd be kind of like a hard ridge there. And then back to this, there'd be like nice little place that catches the light really well. I like that. All right, that's looking good. There is a little bit of reflected light right below the mouth. Kind of comes out over here. And I think that that's good for kind of defining that. And then I always forget where all my pencils are. This needs to round out a little bit. And then this kind of comes up, kind of gets a little bit darker through here. All right, I think that's pretty good. And then now I feel comfortable kind of coming back over it and adding like some of the darker features to really finish up these lips. I was going to give her a part to her lips, but then I have to draw like teeth and all that crap, and I'm not in that kind of mood tonight. So she's gonna have a nice little closed Mona Lisa type smile. I might have went a little too far on this side with the gonna dial that back a little bit. I think I went a little too far out there. And that's what's great. You can kind of like do these adjustments in real time. Soften the edge a little bit. Same over here. Put in a little bit of a make this a little bit dark. And my pencil. And some Molly Hatchet. Is that who this looks like? I don't know about that. I don't know who Molly Hatchet is. That's the singer, right? I feel like I need to learn a lot more pop culture to keep up with you guys. You guys are way ahead of me on some of these things. So I do think I want to bring this up a little bit. Little adjustments you can do that like here with the pastels, which I think is great. So like I just lifted her lips up a little bit because I felt like they were too big. And then I gotta fix up her chin. And then I can round that back off. So I think that looks pretty good. We had to have two drummers. I feel like I'm learning stuff here. You guys are teaching me things. All right, so I'm going to use this white pencil to kind of soften up this area through here. Which I think is good. This to kind of form a little softer ridge through here. And then I'm switching back and forth through pencils so much that I don't remember where everything is. Of a Guy Ritchie film. Oh, that's a compliment. I love Guy Ritchie films. Snatch is a great film. Is is he still married to Madonna, or is that like how many years back was that? Like I don't know if they're still together, or maybe they never were. I don't know. That's a great compliment. I appreciate that. I'm going to take it as a compliment. I don't know if you meant it as a compliment, but I'll take that. Kind of put a little bit of shadow to this nose over here. Gonna bring it around. I think I need to go with some brown here. That portrait I did of Forrest Fenn, I think that that's something I didn't do very well. Is his nostrils. I feel like I could have done a better job on that, but like I said, not everything turns out perfect. I think it looks enough like him to where I feel comfortable saying I did a good job, but I think there's some improvements I could have made there. Oh, for those who don't know, so like some of you guys are into him, and I did get a lot of requests. I don't know if you guys saw my community post. I got a lot of requests for like a print of that, and I decided like I'm not really equipped to do prints yet. Like that's something that's on my to-do list. One of these days I'll get to it. Um, but I'm just not like prepped for that yet. So my solution there was I'm just going to put it up as like a high resolution picture so that you guys can download it and do what you want with it because I know that there's a huge fan base there um, of force fin enthusiasts, and I got some great feedback on it from them that I really wanted to kind of give back to the community and say, look, you guys like this picture, I appreciate it. Have at it. Here's a high resolution version of it so that you guys can have make a copy for yourself if you want. I think that's pretty cool. If I do something in the future that I want to do is like a print or something like that, maybe I'll jump through those hoops to actually get prints going. But for that one, that's for the community. So you guys can print that as much as you guys want. I don't mind. You're nearly done with your face drawing of the pastel. Like I'm so far behind. You're a lot quicker than I am there, Adel. Ada, sorry. Not Adel. You beat me to it. I'm trying to get faster. Like these things have been going quicker than before, but it's still one of those things where I don't know, it usually takes about an hour or 2 hours, yeah. So we're like at an hour and a half now. Um, we've got we've got eyes, lips, and mouth. So I'm making progress. But yeah, like if I'm gonna do a portrait of somebody on the bus, so like there's a guy on TikTok who does portraits of people while they're sitting on a bus and stuff like that, and I think that's awesome. I don't think I'll like well, we don't have a subway around here, so I don't see me doing exactly that. But if I could go to like a pub or some public place like a street fair or something like that and draw somebody while they're waiting, that would be awesome. So I do need to improve the amount of time I spend on these things. She's got a very small, rounded nose, or not round. You get what I'm saying? Like the end of it, it's like not mine. Mine is a big honker. She's got like a little button nose, I guess. Um, so another tip when drawing portraits is, people do have these reddish areas of their face. So like where the blood flows. So like the nose is one, around the eyes, around the mouth, basically through here, especially if like you're blushing or you've done strenuous activity or something like that. Um, like basically this region of the face is one that does have like a lot of reds in it. So I've been trying to improve that by really like playing that up a bit and making sure that I put a lot of reds into my noses and things of that nature. Right. So I think this is working out. Make this a little bit softer than what it was before. I am looking forward to doing more paintings though. Like I enjoy doing these pastel pictures, but the paintings um, is where I eventually want to be. You know. but we'll see how that goes. It's just a lot of switching back and forth on colors here, by the way. So like, to kind of blend things in, make it look nice. There's no real hard lines when doing a portrait of a younger woman. Like, you want to be careful not to. I mean, you want to depict them accurately, but you also want to be careful to not put in too many wrinkles or crow's feet or things like that. Things that they might get upset about. So I try to be careful with those. I mean, we all have these things. They're a fact of life. It's not a big deal. It's just you want to kind of be a little bit on the side of no crow's feet. Like simplify those lines if you can. All right. And then I kind of wanted this to be a little bit redder through here. And I'll come back over this with some lighter areas, but I wanted to get these base colors down. There we go. All right. So I think that's looking okay. Put in some highlights. So you see that I'm actually pressing down pretty hard with these just because I really want them to like stand out. Bit of white on the bridge of her nose or whatever that's called. Some heavy highlight on the very top of her nose. And then there's some highlights coming through here. There's a highlight that kind of comes up around her nose. And then through here, this is kind of like basically whitish, kind of blending into like blush on her cheek. Getting some really soft colors here, so that's good. This area through here is kind of a little bit whited and blended in. All right, so I think that's pretty good. This whole side of her cheek a little bit lighter. That's why I didn't worry about the scribbles on this side because I knew that they would kind of be blended out. I mean, she's still got flesh tone through here, but it's basically white. And there's a ridge on this side. And then I call it a milk mustache, but there's always like a highlight on the top of the lip, which really does well to kind of define the lips. So I kind of drawn this like basically a milk mustache. Really thin, pencil thin milk mustache, but a milk mustache nonetheless. And again, these soft pastels, you just basically go over what's already there and it creates that softness. Get this out of the way. Highlight that kind of comes down right through there. Kind of bring that up into like wherever her ear is going to be. Kind of a heavy highlight here on her actual cheek. Thanks, Ada. Appreciate that. Blend out this stuff. Going over like you know, your flesh areas with white, kind of like help to kind of just blend all that in. All right, so now I need to go back to her eyes and really make those pop, um, which is probably something I could have done earlier, but I wanted to like make sure that I was pretty happy with the picture overall, which I am. I think that this is going to be great. At some point, I got to give her hair. She doesn't have any hair yet, but you know, all things in time. We'll get that going. We get some eyelashes coming off. I want to go crazy on the eyelashes. Like some people have like it's all about the eyelashes. Some of them don't. You got this shadow underneath. You gotta remember the eyes are 3D objects, so the lid is going to cast shadows. The um, the eyelashes are going to cast shadows. There's just shadows everywhere. I don't have the pencil for it. Where did that go? I had a like a light gray pencil. Maybe it's this one. I think that'll work. So I wanted to put a little bit of, so it's not all white. I put some color into her eyes. All right, so that's pretty good. Um, where's my dark blue? There we go. But at this point, I want to come back in and really put in that eye color. So that eye color is going to be basically three different colors. Like this is just how I do it. And you know, always go off of your reference picture. So like if there's other colors in there, make sure you get those in there. But her eyes are blue, but you notice how I just made them super dark. That's intentional because I want to come back over it with a highlight color. So you basically have your blacks, you have your darker color, and then your highlight color can go over that and create that depth. It really makes eyes pop. I'm really like pressing down hard to kind of get it over that basic base color that I had. And then there's going to be some white highlights in here as well. And it's very difficult to draw with your stick pastel, but I like how this particular Rembrandt kind of goes over that. And I kind of messed up her pupil there, so let me get that back in there. But I like how opaque this is and how it just kind of goes over. Can't get this right. I'll fix that up. But yeah, so like just a little bit of pop on the eyes, and then if I come over here, I can do the same basic thing. Get some lighter blue in there. And then add a little bit of white, like an overlay. And then I like to add a little bit of white to over the, so I put in like kind of a gray, and then I come back over it with the white and some highlight areas on the actual eyeball itself, whatever that part's called, the white part of your eye. And I think that combination really makes these realistic eyes that kind of like just stand out. So I think that looks pretty good. Gonna smooth some of this out. And underneath her eye, you know, you got basically some eye bag action, which could be different depending on if they're wearing makeup or not. In this case, it's kind of reddish. Through here, and that kind of goes into like a yellowish on this side, so I get that kind of blended out a little bit. The reason I'm close to finishing already is because it's quite low quality. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. What artists call that is like a study. So like maybe you're doing like a light study, or you're doing like like I don't know, like a color study or something like that. There is nothing wrong with doing a quick sketch. In fact, that's what you actually end up needing to do if like you do end up doing like say portraits of people in public or something like that. Say you're in like a coffee shop or something like that. They actually tell you that you really need to get remember how I said you start with like the big shapes and then you kind of move into the smaller shapes. You want to get the big shapes down first, because like if you're drawing somebody who's like in like a coffee shop or something like that, and they get up and they leave, you can still finish your drawing because you've got the essence of them already done, if that makes sense. So there's no shame in that at all. All right, so I think that's pretty good. Bring that down here. How we doing on time? An hour and 40 minutes. I still don't have any hair. I gotta put in the hair before like it gets too late. All right, so I did want to kind of put in basically the light catches the eye right underneath her eyeball. It kind of comes around here. It might be a little bit yellow, but you can go back over it with some white. Well, all right, so I think that looks good. And then I had a pink. Do I still have that pink? I need a really super light pink. There you go. There's this like ridge underneath the eye that I think is good to put in. It would be kind of on both sides. And then if I go with my black, hopefully I can get some little eyelashes coming off without screwing it up. So this is basically like a dotted line instead of like a hard line. And kind of softly, you're just giving the impression that there's like, you know, you have eyelashes on the bottom too, essentially, is what that's going on. Kind of darken this up over here and around that eye down, and a little bit of a lip there, and then over here, kind of a little small line above it. I think those are pretty realistic eyes. Yeah. Yeah, the more pastel you put in, the easier it blends. So like if you notice like down here, this all still looks scratchy, and it's because it's those layers that really make the pastels work so well. It really is about the amount of layers that you put into it. And that's the reason why the amount of tooth on it all works together. So like the amount of tooth that you have on the paper allows you to put more layers down. And the more layers you put down, the easier it is to blend. All of this stuff works together. That's a great observation. I'm glad you noticed that. And that's actually, like one of the first things that you start realizing when you work with that. Again, like I said, I'm a self-taught artist. There was nobody who taught me how to draw with pastels. But the more you draw with pastels, you start noticing certain things like that. Like, oh, I'm having a lot of trouble here because I only have that one layer down. So like if you just put down one layer of pastels, it's going to look ugly. It's not going to look great. It really takes multiple layers before things start looking blended. Now, the cool thing about these soft pastels is that they do blend so well compared to colored pencils. Like I said earlier, that's why I like them. Like Now there's some drawbacks and stuff. Like if you went to like ship this to somebody, you have to put fixant down so that it doesn't smear, things that you don't really have to do so much with colored pencils. But as far as like being able to blend and stuff like that, it is a lot quicker. So like I usually get these pictures done within like, I don't know, 2, 3 hours or something like that. Versus you see some of these people do it in colored pencils, it takes them like 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, something like that. That's the real benefit of working with soft pastels when doing portraits. There's other benefits as well. So like if you went to do like a landscape picture or something like that, you can do a really good impressionist landscape picture in pastels as well. That just looks really nice. I've done a couple of them, not many recently, but they work really well for that. In fact, that's where, you know, they really have their claim to fame. If you go back to like Renoir, there's some other famous painters who use pastels. Those are those are all kind of like similar things. Like there's definitely some famous uh, landscape artists who use pastels. There you go. Like a lot of people use the pastels for landscapes, to be honest. I like to use them for portraits, but famously they make for really great landscapes, especially like in the impressionist style. So like if you're into like impressionist art, which I am, I think it's really cool. They work really well for that. All right, so I'm liking this so far. I think that the eyebrows need to be beefed up, and then I really need to put in some hair, and then maybe I can add like some, upper torso type stuff. Oh, I did want to make this really, really pink through here compared to the other side. Because like it is in a darker area, I kind of want it to really be that smooth pink over there. A little bit of pink over here, but not as much. Some of this stuff isn't showing up on camera, but that's fine. All right, so let me work on our eyebrows real quick, and then we'll kind of move into doing some hair, I think, and then hopefully we'll be closer to calling this done. If anybody needs to drop out early, you have plans or something for tonight, again, I won't hold that against you. I appreciate you guys' time. Otherwise, you can just hang out and watch me drone on about art and stuff. So I think that's good. Probably needs to be like a little darker coming over it for, to give it some definition. I always like to apply two colors to everything, like a lighter color and a darker color, just to give it some visual interest, I guess, and kind of like capture that light. I really like if there's something I'm most interested in as a fledgling artist, like somebody who's trying to learn art and get better at it. Uh, my big thing is I really like how light and shadow works in an environment, right? So like how does the light reflect off of her face? How does the light reflect off of her eyebrows and her eyes and you know all of these different things. I just basically like if I had a theme to my art, it would be chasing shadows, lights and shadows, like the highlights and the shadows of a picture. Those are the things that I really get into. It's not like I'm saying that I'm all that good at it. I'm just saying that that's what I enjoy the most about it. All right, so I'm going to put these pencils to the side for a minute, and I'm going to try to kind of get some rough hair in here. I think I'm going to kind of go blondish on this. Even though like at this point I could really go with like any kind of hair color, but the reference picture is she had red hair in the reference picture, but I recently did a red haired portrait, so I didn't want to do that again. I wanted to kind of vary it up a little bit. So I'm gonna try to go blonde here, even though I don't really have any reference art for it. I'm just gonna kind of use my imagination. blonde, red. What's the difference? It's all values, you know, like tonal values, and then you're just applying some color to it. So I'm starting with this kind of like brownish um, base. I think that will work good for just kind of figuring out where my hair is gonna be. And again, these Rembrandt pastels are really good for like, laying down these solid blocks of color. So she does have an ear over here, and I want to be mindful of that. I think the ear kind of comes up to right around her eyes. So if I cut it off there, I think I'm good. And then kind of come down behind her eye and just kind of get crazy with it. Almost like in the beginning when I was doing my scribble, because I kind of just want it to kind of come off to the side. And then kind of form that neck a bit. As you can see, you can kind of rush through this because like the focal point is their face, right? So like you want to spend a lot of time there and you want to smooth that kind of stuff out. But it's a really cool style to be a lot looser with these other areas, you know. Um, I think that that's a cool style when it comes to pastels and just, like pictures and paintings in general. It's definitely something that I see a lot in other people's art. So I know that she looks like she's having a very bad hair day so far, but kind of want to get that part in here. But we'll fix this up. And then, so you notice how, like, if the pastels are super soft, you can go over these areas that you've already kind of colored. And you'll get some of that kind of blending of colors. Like, this will be a little bit blended with the blue and stuff, but all of that's good. It's all fine. All right, so let me smooth some of that stuff in so that it doesn't look so very bad. This poor girl, she's having a very bad hair day. Kind of smooth that out. And then, let's see, where did I guess this? Um, kind of kind of carve this out a little bit and kind of give it some more of a kind of want it flowing off the page a little bit. All right, so that looks really awful, right? But I think you'll find that that's actually a pretty good base for some of these other things. So like then I'll come in with like a darker color and kind of block in where I think some of the shadows might be in her hair. So like just under her ear and kind of like around the back of her neck, kind of like coming away from that because like obviously her face is like causing some of that shadow, depending on where the light source is, which in this case is kind of coming down like this. Yeah, I would love to see that. I'll check that out. So like if you posting that up on your channel, I'll check that out probably tonight sometime. That's cool, man. Um, all right, so a little bit darker through here. We're kind of creating some definition to this hair. Through here, it might be like a little bit dark. And you can leave some of these areas rough. So my rule of thumb is the closer it is to your focal point, and it, like this is just a personal preference. The closer it is to your focal point, the more you smooth it out. But out here, I don't care. I'll just leave all this rough. That looks cool. But as I get closer to the face, I want to be a little bit more careful with it and, you know, kind of smooth it out. So here you kind of have the hair comes up at the part and kind of whisks around, which I think is a cool style. You're gonna have to wait, doggy. This is my dog, by the way. She gets impatient. She has like an internal clock, and she knows that like usually I only take about 2 hours, and I'm really pushing it on this one. But I think if we get the hair in here, it'll be done enough that we can call it done. So feel free to kind of like just bring it down over your picture and stuff. It's fine, like from a style standpoint, it's not messing it up or anything like that. We're not shooting for a hyper realism here. We're shooting for representational, I guess. So like we want to represent the face, not create a photo of the face or something like that. So here we just kind of bring that down. Through here it might be a little bit darker. Blend that in. We're really looking for like tonal values. So like if you're looking at your portrait, you can kind of squint and see like where the shadows might be and stuff like that. All right, so I think that that's probably a good start on the shadows. Obviously we have some more work to do, but get that started. And then I'll come back with like a highlight or something like that. Kind of get that in there, just kind of blocked in as well. And depending on how I like this, I might come in and refine it a bit with like some pencils and stuff, but mostly like this part here, I feel comfortable just kind of doing it in these stick pastels. I'll kind of bring this out a little bit. And all of that in. And I kind of want it to kind of come down a little bit, so I'll bring some of that down. And again, I'll smooth this out. And then towards the end, once I'm happy with everything, I'll leave some of it a little bit rough because I think that looks cool for like a hair texture. But as you can see, it's starting to become like real hair as it goes along. But it takes a little while to get there. And then, you know, like I'll bring this down and out as well. And then kind of have like some little wisps coming down and stuff like that, but I'll worry about that a little bit more here in a minute. Kind of smooth out the top part. A little bit lighter through here, but not as light as some of these other areas. Bring that around. All right, so she's still having a bad hair day, but it's a little bit better. And then I kind of wanted her hair to fall over her shoulder, kind of like that. So I'll rough in. Again, I'm not worried about details down here. I just want, you know, some basic hair draped over her shoulder, essentially. So let me kind of smooth all of that in. And I think that that gives me enough to where I can start working on some of this, like tying it all in together. So you have your hair, you don't want this like halo effect. You kind of want to blend it in with your scalp, right? So that's not just like floating. And then this, I think, because like, again, the closer you get to the face, the more details you have. So like through here, you'll want to like maybe put in some individual strands of hair. And some darker areas and stuff like that to kind of like really separate some of the stuff out. And then I had that, where was that purplish pencil? Was it this one? Don't forget to drink your drink. So I think through here, dog, it's not time yet. Go lay down. My dog gets anxious and wants to go out. I'm gonna tie some of this skin tone into the shadows. Oh, okay, Ada, take your time. I appreciate if you don't make it back, I appreciate you stopping in. So definitely need to clean my hand after all of that because I've got so much gunk on it. I'm gonna shadow down through her forehead because she's got like a lot of hair up here. And again, the more layers you have, the easier it is to blend that kind of stuff. And then, where's my, yeah, that'll work. I can here kind of just smooth all this out with this a little bit lighter color, a little bit pinker. Dog's going nuts behind me. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I think that looks kind of cool. Let me grab this around here. We'll get some more hair definition going. Basically, you want to kind of tie the scalp into the actual hair so that it's not just so weird. And I wanted a strand to come down and around. And another kind of curlish one coming around like that. And I think that'll work for the basics there. All right, so there was some highlights that I wanted to put back up in here. Dog, you're gonna have to wait. Lighten that up a bit. I think that looks pretty good. All right, so moving back to my hair. All right, so this should come down out here. So this is a point where I try to kind of figure out exactly where her face starts and the stops, you know. Oh, I'm getting gunk all over my hands. I need to be careful there. By the way, I'm using like charcoal here instead of like actual pastel. I think that that's fine. I mentioned that in like previous drawings, like charcoal and pastels work really well together. So it's okay to use them both in conjunction with each other. Let's see. So at this point, I think I'm going to lift some of this brown up over here kind of go more blue through there. Yeah, because I think I want to, yeah, I think that's cool. All right, so through here. Hey, Ashley, how's it going? How you guys doing this evening? Is Ben still doing his live stream later tonight? I'm gonna tune in for that. All right. So back to getting some highlights in here. I think if we bring in some highlights on this side, and kind of leave them a little bit rough, will help sell that illusion of a lot of hair. And I think I wanted to put a little bit more pink in here, just to kind of like make it not just light pink in that one area. So let me kind of round this out with a little bit more pink. Gonna blend that in together. And maybe I had a darker blue, so let me try to get some of that in there as well. I think her shirt will be kind of like around here. I can kind of blend some of this background into that. This is really why I like these soft pastels. They really do create these cool effects, you know. Okay, so I think we can get some super highlighted areas up in here, and I think that'll really make her hair looks realistic enough to where I'm not going to be so worried about it. Just kind of lightly blend that together. I still want to keep that a little bit rough. Um, Same deal here. Come back with my yellow a little bit, so it's not all white. Again, it's okay to have it a little bit rough because it's not like part of the face or whatever. And then do need to get more definition over here a little bit. Just leave this all weird looking. All right, I feel like that's good enough to where I can like work on her ear real quick. My dog is getting antsy, so I'm on a time schedule now. A little bit. And a darker. Okay. And since this is kind of small, I'm going to have to use my blending stump instead of my fingers. That's okay. There needs to be a little bit more red in that. So I had it red somewhere. Go with this. And where's my blending stump? Oh, cool. Cool, Ada. I will definitely check that out tonight. I'm sure it's awesome. Getting close to finishing this up. Just gotta throw in an ear here or two, finish up the hair, and then we're in business. And then my poor dog can go out because she's over here whining. Round that out. Gonna bring that up. Yeah, so these things usually come together more towards the end. Like there's always this ugly phase and like missing pieces and stuff. And then what happens is I look at the clock and I'm like, oh crap, I need to make some progress. And then I'm like, well, let's just hurry up and finish this up. So there, it definitely follows the pattern. I do kind of have a like a consistent way of doing things. Like that ear is much too light. I need to darken that up. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of get that going. And then I think, all right, so I'll worry about the hair here in a little bit. Let me kind of get the shoulder going here. I think some of this will be lost in hair. Look at these fingers. Gotta clean up my fingers. Kind of a shoulder going there. I feel comfortable rushing through some of these parts that are kind of like off to the side just because they are, you know, not the focal point. They're kind of figuring out where their dress might be. Kind of a pink dress, just because I had that color. All right, and then she had kind of come up like that. Smooth all this out just to give myself something to work with. You have to wait, dog. I'm almost done. I'm almost done, okay? All right, so in her chest area, she would have some like kind of maybe some bluish highlights over her skin. Oh, I like that story. Yeah, that's great. I love it when you guys come up with stories to go along with the pictures I draw. So it can create some definition with the highlights here. Dog, you have to wait. Go lay down. I'm almost done. I know. Actually, I felt like there's still some more work to do here, but it it's getting to a point where I can call it done enough to so that I can put my dog out at least. So that's good. Get some reflected light going along that neck. Bring that down. Um, what things need to be done? Let me switch to this. So to make the hair kind of like the same length as the other side, I can have this kind of come up and then maybe one or two strands kind of coming around. I think that's cool. Get some white going. Some white highlights going on the outside. To carve off some of her hair. Basically using the pastel as an eraser. I think that works. Kind of bring this back in a little bit. Basically giving her a haircut. All right, and then kind of bring this out and just kind of highlight this whole side. I think that works a little bit better. Yeah, that looks much nicer. Looks good. All right, so happy with that. So everything from this side over is done enough to where I feel like I can call this. The dog is really bothering me. All right, and then on this side, bring her hair back. And then through here, I kind of want a highlight to come down. Kind of tie that together. Kind of a little bit windswept. I would, you have to wait, dog. I'm almost done. There definitely needs to be some definition in her hair down here if I'm going to have it kind of come around. But I don't feel like I need to worry too much about that. Just kind of hint that the hair is coming out and around. And spend a little bit more on that. Just gonna blend all of that crap together. Yeah, just like a little strand coming down. Who was that Disney character? Belle, I think, always had the hair that kind of came around. I don't know. But if I'm gonna do that, then she definitely needs some longer hair. So I need to bring this back and around instead of like this kind of short hairdo that she kind of had, so that I can reemphasize that she has a shoulder here. Let's bring that up. And then probably add, kind of blend this out a little bit so that it's not so stark. So the only thing I'm not happy with on this, but I can finish it up off camera, I think, is her ear. Like I'm not happy with her ear. It needs to be a little bit darker, needs a little bit more definition to it. And I can add some more highlights to her hair, things like that. I mean, like I said, the reference picture, she's redhead, and I just didn't want to draw another redhead because I had done one recently. So I think I did all right, kind of piecing together some blonde hair here, blondish hair. So I do think that there's some touch-ups I can do, which I'll probably do off camera just to, you know, make it look nicer. I can probably add a little bit more definition over here. I can probably blend the hair into the face a little bit more, so that it's not so weird. I got gunk all over my hands. I can probably add a little bit tonal value through like this part here. As you can see, it's kind of like, you know, there's a bunch of different shades going on. This is kind of a little bit flat at the moment. So I'll address that after I put my dog out and everything. But this is probably good enough to call done for now for this live stream. So I'll work on it a little bit off camera, and then I'll put together a short that I'll post up on I'll post up on YouTube when I'm done. Sorry, a little tongue tied. Yeah, get some hair flowing around. I'll figure it out. All right. So, oh yeah, so that's something new that I've been doing, Ada. I've been trying to like come up with some inspirational quote to go off of, like before I get started each time. I think it really helps kind of like focus things. So I'm probably going to continue doing that. Anyway, I think this is done enough for now. I'll work on it a little bit off camera. The dog really wants to go out. She's like, "Time's up, Daddy." So I'll see how it goes. But anyway, portrait. Let's see. Let me go back to me. All right. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, there's a few things that I need to finish up on it, but I don't need you guys to wait around for that. And this dog certainly isn't going to let me anyway. For those of you who are new, this is my dog Bear, and then I have another little black dog probably creeping around on the floor back there. There he goes. See that guy right there? His name is Guinness. They're my co-pilots on this show. And they kind of like they're the alarm bell that says like, all right, you're done. You need to let me out. So I'm gonna go ahead and call this done and put them out. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Hopefully you guys have a great weekend. I'll be back on Tuesday. Maybe we'll do another painting. I might actually do that Halloween inspired painting tonight or tomorrow or something like that and post it up over the weekend, maybe on Sunday. We'll see how it goes. So those are the things you can expect. Otherwise, I'll be back on Tuesday for a live stream. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Have a great weekend. Bye.